What's up, people? What's up? So here today we're going to be doing another episode of High Minds, and this is definitely going to be something that I try to do every Sunday. This is definitely going to be the date that I try my best to do it on. So hope everyone enjoys this. This is definitely going to be a somewhat just cannabis slash martial arts podcast, but it's also going to have some more different stuff in the future. But before we get into this one today, we might as well talk about some of the recent content that I've been doing. I just did a documentary talking about Cali Plug. This is a very interesting character in the game. This is someone who definitely influenced the a lot of the stuff that's going on in the market today, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely an interesting thing to speak on. So I thought it was definitely a great documentary to do. I think that people will really enjoy it. So that's definitely one piece of content that I've done in the very recent past. But I also actually just did a interview the other day. Some people might find this funny. Some people might look at me like, "Oh, you're an idiot for doing this." But what we did was we did an interview and literally the audio didn't come out. So what happened was that I was trying to screen record on my laptop, and this is a Chromebook. It's really not a fancy laptop. It's nothing special. It's a Chromebook, so it is what it is, you know. And I finally learned how to actually screen record the other day, and found out how to do it like right before doing the interview. So just lack of organization, I would say. But with that being said, it was just funny because the audio didn't work. So it's not really funny, but we're gonna end up doing the interview this week instead, like a re-interview, and it's going to be with this really dope grower that's coming from. He's originally coming from North Carolina, but he is actually living out in California right now, doing some major things out there in California. I actually have some flower from them right now that I might as well just show you guys. Actions speak louder than words. But actually, we're only at the 2 minute mark, so let's wait. I'll show you this in a little while. We're only at the 2 minute mark. I'll show you this in a little while. I definitely want to start doing more interviews though, and so with that said, I definitely will have that one that I just said, but I also will have this other one with this very interesting person that's in the game. He is someone who grows himself, but he also knows a lot about the consumption of cannabis and what's actually good for you, what's bad for you, and all that stuff. But he's also just someone who's able to say it in a fun way. So it's definitely going to be someone who I think is going to be a perfect one for my style of interview. If you guys probably can assume what that is, I'm not like someone who is sugarcoating shit and telling you it's a lollipop. Definitely not going to do that to you. I'm going to tell you that that is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think that this is definitely going to be really good for the community to have a interviewer who is not really just out here for the clout. Because at the end of the day, I know what comes with the clout. I know that realistically, that is something that comes with growing a YouTube channel. Of course, that is somewhat what anyone is chasing if they're making a YouTube channel, but I think the interview style will definitely be dope for the community just because it's just gonna be blunt. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be sugarcoating shit and telling you it's a lollipop. So it is what it is. But let's move past that and let's talk about some of the things that we are gonna be actually speaking about today. I definitely want to talk about what is possible for the next flavor profile, what's actually possible for the next thing that's going to be booming on the market. As we see right now, everyone wants candy, but like, do people even know what they want next, or do they even have the option of seeing what's possible for what's next? So I want to discuss that a bit. I also want to discuss I want to discuss a few different things. So we'll get into it while we go. So let's just get into it first. Let's talk about how we just reached this really dope milestone on the actually, hold on. What's up, bro? How you doing? I definitely will answer any questions. If anyone else has any questions throughout the live, as we see right now, it's only one person right now, but it will potentially be people in here. So if anyone ever has a question or anything along those lines, feel free to ask me. I definitely want to make it more interactive and whatever, but I definitely also want to cover a few different points today as well. So let's just cover a few different things. We reached this dope milestone where we actually are eventually going to be, we haven't gotten it yet, but soon I think I'm going to start being paid from YouTube, which is going to be dope because I will be able to invest that money right back into different stuff for YouTube. You know what I mean? Smarter to if you make money off something, invest right back into it. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be dope to actually get that. I think that this is going to be a really cool milestone because it's what I've been chasing for a while now. You know what I mean? I think anyone that starts a YouTube and acts like they're not trying to get paid from it is probably lying. So this is really, really exciting, and it's really going to be interesting to see what it's gonna be like. You know what I mean? I definitely want to invest it right back into maybe even getting like a new phone, getting a new camera so I can actually get some of these videos done a little bit more organized and a little bit more just clean for the people. So I definitely appreciate everyone who's been supporting and is actually making this possible for me to actually get paid off talking or get paid off making videos, which is definitely work. It's not easy, but it is what it is, you know? So I appreciate you guys. Um, so let's talk about the next flavor profile. What I actually humbly think is going to be the next thing on the market. As we see right now, everyone has this real big craving for sour. Everyone has this big craving for the old school gas. So what would be really, really good for that? What's actually going to be able to treat the taste buds of someone who's looking for something that has gas, but maybe also has candy too. And there's stuff like gelati, there's stuff like biscotti. There's a lot of strains out there that are dessert strains that are somewhat a mix of both in a way. In my opinion, a mix of candy and a little bit of whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever that would be you're looking for, like fire or whatever, like gas or whatever, would probably be dessert because dessert actually will pack somewhat of a punch, and there's a lot of strains in that category. Obviously, the majority of people when they think of that, they think of like wedding cake because wedding cake is the one that people can really produce on a high level. They can get really high yields out of it, and in the end it's most of the time not going to be something that people really want to smoke. So wedding cake is definitely something that people really think about when they think about that category, but it's definitely something that is not just that's not nearly one of the best ones. There's so many ones out there. And I say gelati especially because that one right there, it tastes like chocolate ice cream if you can get it done proper. It is wild. It is wild to see that even that like flavor come off of a plant. It is insane. So it really is going to be interesting in my opinion. The next thing is it's coming. It's coming. People are getting tired of candy, and I hate to be the person that continuously talks about candy as like being a bad thing because I know there's so much great candy out there. I've smoked a lot of great candy in the past few months, but I definitely think that it's the same thing with all markets. You could see it with clothes, you could see it with seasonal foods, you could see it with all different types of things. They have different how should I say this? It's different cycles almost. It's like a different cycle where this one thing's booming right now, but it's not necessarily going to be super popular in October or you know what I mean? It's weird how like just a month or two difference can be so major in what is actually trending and what's actually popular at that moment. So I do think that that's going to be a very interesting thing to see what is going to be the next thing. And a lot of people are kind of stuck in the mud about it. Even myself, I'm not too sure what's going to be next because I do want gas. I want gas a lot. Like right now, this is what I'm preferring out of my stash. It's Fire OG times Triangle Kush times TK White 91. I don't know if anyone is familiar with what this is going to be like, but you smell this, you smoke this, it's just gas. It's especially out of a joint. You smoke this out of a joint, it tastes like gas. It's wild. So it's like I see that being like a trendy thing. Like people obviously want gas. Everyone wants like something that's actually going to work and everything too, but people do like flavor and I'm guilty of that too. I love flavor. I love something that's actually going to taste just so interesting and like so I don't know, just appealing that it's gonna make me think that spending this crazy amount of money on it was worth it. So I do think that the new the new the new age is coming, but I'm not too sure. It's very interesting. I do think that like something like a gelati would be booming if someone did it proper and actually ran that out the right way, but we don't see stuff like that right now. We don't see gelatis. We don't see stuff like that because supposedly it just doesn't yield a lot. So what we see right now in the market that's controlling the market is stuff that yields a bunch, which is like not really good for the smoker. So I guess this may be a boring topic, but I definitely think that this is a necessary topic. So I'm gonna move on from here. But anyone that rewatches this, please let me know if you guys want to hear me talk more about this topic and actually cover this in depth because it's a very interesting topic. I think I probably just scratched the surface. But so what else is there to talk about? I've been posting a lot of different videos that I've been noticing get a lot more views, which is very interesting. If you do these shorts, so this right here. Let me just give like a little clarification what I'm talking about. This is probably best for anyone that's like a creator on YouTube. If you're like trying to make videos, what I've noticed, people really love dog videos. People love it. So I've been posting a lot of dog videos lately just because there's so many dogs that live near me and different shit that it's hilarious, you know? Why do you think you are qualified to review anything? You could just I didn't just start smoking. I've probably been smoking for like 11 years now. I think 11 years. I definitely think I'm qualified because I have self-awareness. I think that that is something that helps me a lot. I think self-awareness is great because if you are able to actually see when you're doing something wrong and you're able to fix it, then you're able to move on. But if you get stuck in the mud and see that what you're doing is like not having positive results and you just continuously do it, that's insanity. So I think that self-awareness would be a great answer. I would say that the reason why my reviews come out in a way that people actually find useful, I would say is because I'm not looking at it like, oh, this person's great just because they followed me on Instagram or just because they liked one of my posts or something. Like I don't care if you guys like my stuff really. At the end of the day, I know that in the field that I'm approaching, I'm trying to just be consistent. I'm not trying to really be the one that's being super flashy with it and shit. If I was trying to be really flashy, I would have like a super high end editing process and be doing it in all that weird way. But I think being more real and actually coming on here live and actually being more upfront with stuff is it's taking the long road, but it's worth it in the end. I think that that's what makes me qualified to do reviews, honestly. But I also think that everyone is open to having their own opinion as well. So I could be wrong about something. I could be not necessarily wrong about it too. I could also just have a different opinion as than someone, you know? I think that that also is like a good thing to have. If you are doing reviews, mention that in the review. It's like, this might not be for me, but it could be for you. So this is why I'm rating it like this, and this is why I think it is this. You know what I mean? So I would say that there's definitely like a lot of different things that I would say make me qualified, not just like the self awareness, but I think that that is a valid, easy answer. So, um, where are we going from here? I definitely think that questions like that are very necessary, though. I think that questions like that, people need to ask people questions like that. I definitely appreciate a question like that. So, let's talk a little bit about last night's fight and where it's going to lead. Honestly, I've been thinking that this is very interesting to see because Song Yadong won the fight last night. And let me just say this before I talk about martial arts and MMA here. So my apologies to anyone that's not trying to hear this right now. But very interesting to see this fight last night. I did predict that Song Yadong was going to win, but I also did predict that what did I which one did I get wrong last night? I tried to blank it out of my head already. See, that's the dope thing about UFC. You get to see that you're wrong a lot. You know what I mean? Oh, I said that Anthony Smith was going to beat Khalil Roundtree, and Khalil Roundtree knocked him out. So got to see right there that I'm wrong sometimes. But that was very interesting to see as well. Honestly, though, Song Yadong, I really have high hopes for this fighter. I really think that this is someone who is just very calculated, very patient, and very calm when he's in those high pressure situations. And it's really exciting to see someone like this. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting to see how he can do. Of course, he went up against a tough challenge last night. So will this give him a opportunity at a title fight? Probably not. I think that they're probably going to be holding him back just a bit just because he is someone who how should say this? He is definitely someone who isn't a marketable person. He's not really good with speaking in the sense like of building a fight. You know what I mean? Some people just aren't good at building it. So I do think it's going to be dope to see his future because he's probably going to have to fight some more tough challenges before he gets that opportunity, which is good for the fans, but it's not necessarily good for him. But I definitely think that this upcoming card that's coming up is going to be madness. Not only due to just all like the conflict that's going on behind it, but just the interesting the interesting part with this Ian Gary thing. This Ian Gary is about to fight Vicente Luque, and if anyone's not familiar with this, I probably did the worst intro into it, but this is going to be a crazy fight just because there's a lot of conflict going on. I don't really want to speak about that. It's not necessarily my business, so I'm not going to speak about it, but it's definitely a interesting thing to have playing in the background of your mind during such a high pressure situation like this. I know with me, as much as I think that I'm like good in those situations, I know for a fact I can be self-aware enough to say that any little tick, like someone asking me a question on like why I think I'm qualified to do reviews, like could be like why am I not qualified? You know what I mean? Have you seen these other reviewers, which is kind of my ego, like you know what I mean? So I know that if I have an ego, Ian Gary has an ego, which leads me to say that it's going to be very, very interesting to see if he's going to be able to calm that ego in this fight. And if he isn't, then he's going up against a very tough challenger in Vicente Luque, who is someone who can really put a great beating on someone. So I think that the way that this may play out is that Ian Gary loses now that all of this shit's been just getting stirred around, which I hate to say it because he's such a crisp fighter, and he's definitely someone who's very good at controlling his emotions. You can see that he's very calm in the fight, which is wild to see. There's not a lot of people who are able to control their emotions that well, but he definitely is someone who he can control himself very well. So honestly, if anyone can pull it off, it's him. But this is gonna be exciting to see. This is gonna be a very high stakes card. They have Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. That right there is just madness. That right there is just wild. I can't imagine how that's gonna play out, but they have Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. Obviously, they have Kobe Covington versus Leon Edwards. I'm almost getting too ahead of myself right now. That one's gonna be wild. Honestly, there's so many ways that that one could go bad. I think that I do probably see that Leon Edwards gets the win. I think that that was probably gonna be the smartest way it plays out, but if Kobe makes it boring, it's gonna be annoying to watch, to be honest, because he might just smother him and just get the takedown. So hopefully we get to see some type of way Leon pulls this off. But at the same time, it would be dope to see Kobe get it for at least once, have the title for once, because he's put himself on the line a few times in some crazy fights where he's had a jaw broken, still getting hit and stuff. So really think that that one's going to be very, very interesting to see. I cannot wait for that one. But that leads me to say, I definitely think that there's going to be a really, really dope fight announcement in the next upcoming week. So I'm really going to be doing a lot more videos on martial arts and whatnot because I'm very interested to see who Song Yadong is going to be facing. I really am interested to see who all of these different people are going to be facing. But honestly, it's slipping my mind at the moment. Um, I know that they just were talking about Yuri Prohashka versus Alexander Rakic. I'm not 100% sure if that was actually officially made, but that one right there, if anyone's familiar with those two animals, it's gonna be just wild. Rakic is someone who just he's just a powerhouse. I cannot imagine going up against someone like that. He is someone who he's actually intimidating as a person. I would say that just the way he's built like a kangaroo almost. Wild to see. So I do think that Rocket will be able to pull that one off, in my opinion. I think that his style will be able to cut through the power of Yuri, but at the same time, Prohashka, I'm saying Yuri Prohashka. I mean Jan Blakovic. See, that's what I mean. I probably shouldn't be smoking weed before I do this shit. I'm getting myself all off topic, but that's why it's called High Minds, I guess. That's why it's called High Minds. Um, is there any topics that we didn't cover before? Honestly, I should have had this one more organized, but one last topic before, might as well show you guys this flower and also bring up one valid point that I wanted to talk about. I could show you guys some flower that's grown outdoor as well, actually, right now, too. So this flower is grown indoor. I definitely think that this is some really high-end flower, but what I've noticed is that this compared to the stuff that's grown outdoors that I have, if you were to be smoking this, you're gonna need a lot more of this to get you high than you would need of the outdoor stuff, which very interesting in my opinion. It's very interesting because that's actually really high end flower right there. It might not look like it from just right how I showed you, but it's Chem 91 times Afghani. And then this one is the Fire OG times Triangle Kush times TK White 91. Broken nug right here, but this is the biggest nug that I have left. It's a lot of beauty to it, to be honest. A lot of trichomes. You're able to see the trichomes very well on the outdoor. And that's just the case all the time. Is the trichomes pop on the outdoor. It's so good for making raws and it's so good for making hash. It's just honestly better in my opinion. I think that outdoor weed is not only going to get you higher off just less, but it's amazing to see. To be honest, I want to do a video where I can do a comparison, but at the same time, I don't want to like get anyone mad showing people's weed saying, "Oh, this isn't better than this. This is better like this," because they're both really good. Both of these are really, really high end stuff. So I don't want to do a video like that, but it's almost worth it to do it just because this is definitely some stuff that people would be just surprised with. If you were smoking both these side by side, I can almost safely assume that everyone would pick the outdoor, which it is what it is. But comparison is the thief of joy. So I'm not going to necessarily act like it's a bad thing. I think that they're both great in their own ways. It's interesting. I think a lot of people would be able to see a difference, obviously, but there's also a community of people who aren't necessarily able to see that difference between the two flowers. So those people who can't see the difference probably shouldn't be doing reviews, and I think that's what gives me a qualification to do reviews. So we're gonna end it off on that. I definitely think that that's a great way to end such a unorganized one like this. I definitely appreciate anyone who makes this to the end. I did have one question earlier. I forget what the question was that I was trying to ask you guys to let me know about. I forget what it was. Oh, what do you guys think is going to be the next flavor profile in the game? What is actually going to be booming? What do you think that people are lacking in right now? Do you think that there's any possibility that there is, how should I say this? Do you think that there is any possibility that there is going to be, well, I'll leave it at that. What do you guys think that the next flavor profile is going to be? That's going to be the question that I leave everyone with. I definitely appreciate everyone, and this will be definitely more on Sundays, but I'm going to try to do them later in the day. As you guys see, this was an early one today, but I'm going to try to do them around 9 o'clock on every Sunday. So definitely will make sure that I'm more consistent with it. I appreciate anyone who watches this, though. Stay blessed.